Okay, we're going to be replacing the front door of a 2003 WRX. Here's the issue. It doesn't come up clearly on the video, but there is, when I bought this car, a lot of rippling in this door that cannot be pounded out. So the sheet metal is going to have to be replaced. Now the issue is that the sheet metal itself is not that expensive. I got a door for a couple $100. The real issue is all the other components in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out and swap them out. The first thing we're going to do is remove the interior panel of the door. And honestly, if you don't know how to do that, you probably shouldn't be attempting to do this anyways. So we're going to get that off, get the speakers off, and then we're going to work on getting the door off and getting this inside because it's 30 degrees outside. There's three things that have to be disconnected. There's this thing right here, which keeps the door from swinging wide open. There is the electrical connection, and then there is the hinges themselves. The first thing we're going to do is disconnect this part right here so we can get the door swung open a little bit farther. You see now the door has been disconnected. Now here's the tricky part. The electrical for the door is actually connected right there. And all you have to do is unplug that and thread it out through the wiring hole, which is right there, and get the electric out that way. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take off the side view mirror assembly. Get the mirror off. It's 4 screws. Here, 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 and here. The rest of the bracket off. There's 1 bolt in back. That's a screw, and then these 2 bolts in the front. We're now going to attempt to take out the bolts that are holding the window assembly in, which if you look at it should be fairly obvious as to what's holding them in. And don't forget to disconnect this assembly here, which is the connect for the mount for the motor for the window. There's also these 2 guides. You see one still in and one I've taken out to give me a little bit more room to get the window disconnected. This bolt here in order to assist in getting the window out. There's also a bolt right through there that's attached that I need to get off too. You can see it right there that's attached to the window that you need to get off. Work the window in and out and take the black guide rails out. This is showing the motor sitting on the outside, showing how it is lined up inside when it is installed. To get that out, the big opening right here, that's what it's there for, to pull that out. It takes a little jiggling back and forth to get the window out, to get the motor out, to get the guide rails out. I've shown you all the screws to disconnect. You're going to have to work out getting this particular bushing out of the guide rail before you pull the window out. But it can be done. It just takes some patience and some time. As I've always said, and as you read, if they got it in. Okay, now we're going to do the lock assembly. Go ahead and disconnect these 2 arms here. This one, this just, I'm going to get my finger out of the way, this just flips out, so that's going to disconnect. There are, on here, 3 screws that need to be taken out. And down, if we can see it, we may have to go through here. Down through here, there are 2 bolts. There's one there, and there's one down through there. There's 2 bolts that have to be taken out for the lever to take off this screw, and I'm actually bringing this all up through the inside. We'll see how that works. Okay, here is the new door with the electrical installed and the latches reinstalled, which is basically doing it the reverse of what you did before. The only thing that's tricky is that when you are replacing these rods tend to fall out. and you just have to be careful about how you reinstall them. So it would not be a bad idea to take a close look at them before you take them out of the original one to make sure that you know how they go back together. Okay, let's be honest. The window is the pain in the ass of putting this in and putting it together. This is what the window assembly looks like unassembled and out of the door. As you can see, you've got the motor, which is attached to 2 points here on the window. You've got and 2 guide bars. This black one is going to go underneath here, and this is going to, you see here, this connects to the door right here, and this is the other point of contention of the door. And then you've got the guide bar up here, which slides in and out of this process here. So what we're going to do is that we're going to start to get some of the glass in, then we're going to get all the window hardware in, and then kind of hook it up all together when it's inside the door. Okay, now you can see the door that I've now put back on the car. I've attached the holding bracket, I've attached the bolts on there at the hinges. You can see I've put in the grommet to run the wiring back down into there, which attaches down there. Just a little hint, in this grommet right here that's going to go back on, it's easier to put back on if you do it before you put on the door. It can be done, but it's much harder. You can see that I put in the tape to run the inner plastic around. Well, theoretically you don't have to do that. Why wouldn't you? Just get some 4mm plastic to and cut it to size. I went ahead and attached the window controls briefly just to make sure the window was all hooked up correctly and operates, which it does. And that's basically it. Then it's just a question of putting the plastic on, finishing putting the rear view mirror on, reattaching the liner, and you're good to go. Finally, if you need to adjust the window height, there are 2 nuts. It's this one right here and this one right here. What those basically are stops that will stop the window travel. So if it's too high or too low, you can adjust those up and down to adjust that height. And that should wrap it up.